Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Thank you very much for joining us on your busy day. Today, we're talking about BI dashboards and cloud-based data marts with our friends from VENA Solutions. If you're using Dynamics GP, Dynamics Nav, or Dynamics 365 Business Central, you're in the right space. And of course, our two banners, Endeavour and GP Support North, our websites, and thank you for joining us today. So our agenda is just as per the invite, quick introductions and a cloud overview. I'll be a minute or two and then transferring it over to TJ and Neil at VENA to showcase their awesome tools. We've had webinars in the past with VENA, and the focus was on FP&A, financial planning and analysis with budgeting workflow, scenario planning, forecasting, labor planning. Today we're going to talk about just the BI aspect, dashboards, slicing and dicing data, pulling in all the pieces together. And VENA has really matured over a number of years. And with our relationship with VENA, we have a special promotional discounted package available for 2024, only for Endeavour and Endeavour clients. So all the clients on the line, thank you very much. Keep listening to the end. And those that are new, let's see if we can become friends. So a quick overview, and this is not only my personal, but also representing our team, why we love VENA. They bring the pre-built data analytics structure. This really accelerates, but also reduces the cost and provides a common foundation, much like putting in Dynamics 365 CRM and building custom applications around that. You have that foundational aspect of performance, security, the tools, the templates, the models. This isn't just building something from scratch using SQL Server. VENA also brings in new unlimited cloud storage. So we can get into slicing and dicing of transactions. It's not just summary data. Typically, most clients are using it on financial data, but we can bring in sales, labor data, other analytics, and Neil will talk about all those ETL tools available. You can have your data hosted in Canada only or in US databases up in their cloud, which is powered by Microsoft Azure in the background. And of course, ease of use. So VENA, as you will see in the demo, has an Excel front end with cloud and obviously a lot of cloud analytics. Because Microsoft has very tight integrations between Power BI and Excel, VENA has jumped onto that bandwagon and has embedded Power BI into their applications, and we have that as an option within the bundles. And as I mentioned, the rapid deployment methodologies really make it easy. And this is specifically the case with the Endeavour bundles that I'll be talking about later on in today's presentation. So bring this all together. This really talks about business transformation, maturity, and increasing the maturity in an own personal roadmap for you and your team, whether you're on Dynamics 365, Business Central, Dynamics GP, or Dynamics Nav, maturing your processes and automating. You still have the budgeting workflows, the scenario planning, all of the reporting needs and modeling that helps you with period end close. And ultimately, as we're here today, the business intelligence and supporting your user community in making better decisions based on data, decisions based on trend lines in analytics to be bigger, better, faster versions of yourselves. So with that, let me transfer it over to Neil and TJ. Neil, I'm going to make you presenter, and I see there's one question that popped up, so I'll take a look at that once I'm off my distractions. And I'm going to take myself off camera as well, just so you have a greater real estate to see the demo. Thanks, everyone.
Excellent. Again, want to welcome everybody to our presentation today. Scott, the rest of the Endeavour team, thanks for allowing me and VENA to present to your client base today. VENA is a full-featured, flexible data analytics tool being used by over 150,000 daily users, over 1,700 customers globally to run their FP&A processes, to build and share their financial statements, manage other tasks. For example, month-end close, account reconciliations, consolidations, eliminations, the list goes on. In fact, VENA can be used for any task that is data-driven, involves people and processes, and is repeatable. Happy to demonstrate any of these to you at a later time. Just talk to Scott and his folks at Endeavour to set that up. Today, as Scott has already introduced, we're focused on two main objectives. Want to show you how VENA can assist users of Dynamics GP, NAV, Business Central to take advantage of all the functions that I just mentioned a few moments ago, but also allow Dynamics ERP users to use our stunning visuals as well as the inherent AI and machine learning that has been built by Microsoft to gain insights into their business. Let's allow you to make smart decisions to run your business in a better way. It allows you to have your KPIs and your OKRs, that's your key performance indicators, your key objectives, or your objectives and key results, at your fingertips, and have more time to run your business rather than simply grinding through numbers. Users can use VENA's built-in data analysis, structured and ad hoc reporting to gain insight into key performance indicators, financial status, operations, any other important management reports. You can create visuals kind of like we're looking at here now, personalized dashboards for value-added insights into VENA or using Power BI. Depending on the report, you can drill into transactions from any budget, forecast, actual report, dashboard. We'll look at that in just a moment. But let's talk about how VENA works. VENA starts with, we call it the complete planning circle. At its heart is the growth engine. VENA's central platform powers your finance-led and all your extended planning processes, as well as processes beyond basic planning. Here's how it works. We start with that cloud database. This is where we're going to bring in and store and aggregate all your user data, such as plans, forecasts, what ifs, as well as any user comments, supporting documents, and so on. This is where your source data is integrated to. It might be coming from your ERP, your Dynamics GP, NAV, Business Central. It might be coming from your HRIS. It might be coming directly from the general ledger, from your CRM. It could be operational, financial, transactional data. With one database unifying your various data sources, you enable cross-platform intelligent analytics and modeling. Within VENA's central analytic database is where your business is modeled. This includes representing things like your chart of accounts, your entity structure, your department breakdowns, time periods, products, scenarios, customers, opportunities, and so on, as well as your business rules such as currency translations, allocations, eliminations. Each person using the VENA platform will have a security profile that defines what they're allowed to see, what they're not allowed to see. Can they read? Can they write? Or are they restricted completely? You fully control what your people can do in VENA. These first three competencies drive what comes next. Whenever you log into VENA to work with your data, even though it is stored and managed in that cloud database, Excel continues to be your primary interface. Since Excel is fully integrated throughout the entire application, it connects to that central database, utilizes your business model, and respects all user security. You're able to leverage Excel, including native Excel functions and logic, without compromise, with the ability to push and pull from that central database. We do this intentionally. Most finance people think in Excel. I do this in my personal life. My wife and I plan a vacation. I think, how do I model that in Excel to make it make sense when I explain it to her that I want to spend some money to do something, right? As finance people, we think in Excel. With this unique approach, VENA not only offers an ever-growing library of pre-built templates and reports with best practices, but we can also leverage the Excel reports, the models that you use today, and bring those into VENA, continue to work the way that you're used to working. All users can now collaborate with the Excel templates and reports through the workflow engine. For each step in the workflow process, you assign users, you assign due dates, you assign which templates are going to be used in that process, and when the process is live, you can visually track the overall status. And of course, we're going to finish today's conversation with data visualization. Power BI is embedded in the VENA application, fully connected to the central database so that your business model is able to be visualized with data insights, predictive capabilities, and beautiful dashboard visualizations. The benefits of the VENA Excel, Power BI partnership are threefold. It allows you to be automated. Let's get rid of all the manual budgeting processes that you're using today. Let's centralize and automate all the results. Give you cross-functional, cross-departmental, cross-entity collaboration with that true Microsoft integration that you're used to using today if you're using Office 365 plus your Microsoft ERP. And of course, let's make it more strategic so that when you're looking at your data, you're not grinding through the numbers, you're making proactive, agile decisions to help make the business better. All of that said, here's what I want to cover today. I want to introduce you to VENA CubeFlex, how you can use VENA CubeFlex to unify your data, understand the VENA approach to your data, talk about the integrations. How does VENA talk to Dynamics GP and NAV? How does it talk to Business Central? What integration methods are we using? And then we're going to get right into the fun stuff. Look at a demo of the actual VENA reports. Look at some consolidated financial statements built in Excel. Look at some dashboards in Excel. Talk about variance analysis and some of the AI that Microsoft has built into the Microsoft Office suite. Then we're going to look at data analytics and what we call VENA Insights, which is Power BI embedded in VENA. And it's actually got some more advanced AI and machine learning, and then we'll talk about dashboards to fit your particular business. So how do we do it? Well, it starts with the acknowledgement that Excel is a great, powerful, familiar tool, but it was never meant to operate as an enterprise platform. So we chose to build the industry's most complete and intuitive native Excel integration with the industry's most robust and flexible database, which we call CubeFlex. VENA lets you leverage all of Excel's amazing modeling capabilities, its familiar user experience, your expertise, and the best of your existing Excel IP without compromise. Fully connected, fully synchronized, the VENA CubeFlex database turns a two-dimensional spreadsheet world into a multi-dimensional planning universe, unlocking the value of your data and your people. All of your VENA Excel templates, models, and data are dynamically mapped to CubeFlex, creating a complete and single version of the truth for your business performance, reporting, and analysis. This, VENA CubeFlex, is the beating heart of the VENA platform. So how does the rest come together? The answer is actually surprisingly simple. The VENA platform brings any financial or operational source data into the VENA CubeFlex. We can see that might be coming from your ERP. It might be coming from your HRIS, your general ledger, your CRM, wherever. And it offers unlimited dimensions and unlimited potential. It's all drag and drop, easy to configure, easy for the finance team to own and operate. We do this intentionally. We want to take away the IT burden and let finance own the application. With our advanced workflow engine and full auditability, you can easily assign tasks, collect inputs, manage approvals while maintaining full transparency and accountability across every user in your business. Notice we're using Excel as the window or the lens into the application, allowing your business users to drive collaboration, inputs, and analysis throughout the entire planning process, giving you higher productivity, higher user adoption. Even more, VENA Insights allows you to harness the power of AI technology to help you generate powerful strategic insights and empower teams with advanced self-service analytics. We're going to look at that in more detail in just a moment. Extending beyond Excel, we integrate the best of Microsoft 365, including a native integration with PowerPoint and Teams coming very soon to keep your teams connected and aligned, leveraging familiar interfaces, advanced productivity, real-time collaboration capabilities of the apps that your teams already use every single day to bring strategic and operational excellence within reach. Again, our customers don't need to spend time figuring out how to be productive. They simply become more productive. VENA brings all your source systems together. We do this in a variety of ways. For some systems, we have direct connectors for things like Sage, Financial Force, NetSuite, and Business Central, Dynamics 365. We have direct connectors. This applies to cloud and on-premise solutions. For others, we can leverage our own VENA connector or use tools such as Microsoft's Power Automate to integrate to any OneDrive, SharePoint, SFTP, or Dropbox location. We can also integrate your data using scheduled or on-demand flat file integration as well. VENA is a source system agnostic platform. We've integrated to literally hundreds of different data sources. Let's look at how we do this specifically in Dynamics GP and NAV and Business Central. Dynamics GP first. I want to start by pointing out that we have done this successfully for over 120 Dynamics GP customers, so this is not us asking you to try something new. We've proven it, Endeavor's proven it, we can do this for you as well. So our implementation team, working along with Scott and his team at Endeavour, we're ready to go. Starting on the left, we determine which data sets or tables we want to pull the data from. We then create SQL views, an SSIS package, set the data integrate on the schedule of your choice. In the middle, we do a secure data transfer into VENA, where the data is then transformed to fit the VENA model of your business, loaded into the model. From there, you start to build your budget forms, reports, dashboards, and so on. Dynamics NAV is much the same as Dynamics GP. Again, we leverage one of the VENA connector methods to integrate your on-premise system, schedule the data loads based on your frequency. It might be daily, weekly, monthly, depending on the data source. The same secure data transfer, data transformation, and load gets your data ready to be used for your reports and dashboards. Business Central is a little different. It has its own dedicated connector, which will soon be available on the Microsoft AppSource Marketplace. Using this connector, we have had several customers in our initial closed beta, our open beta programs integrate general ledger transactions and trial balance details. BC uses an OData URL from Business Central and Power Automate to schedule secure data transfers into VENA, where, just as we saw before, the data is transformed, loaded into your business model. I should also point out that we have successfully implemented about 75 NAV and Business Central customers. So again, between our implementation team, between Scott and his team, you're in good hands getting VENA working with your NAV and Business Central. VENA's VC integration uses familiar Microsoft technology to secure your data as well. Right? Access is granted leveraging Azure Active Directory for OAuth sign-in. Users then define which data they need to pull. The connector does the rest, as we saw in the last slide. Since both the global and shortcut dimensions, we can see them here being integrated right in this diagram, are so important in Business Central, we made sure that our connector recognized those also. We're often asked about data load times. How long does it take? Is VENA fast? Is it slow? What if I have a lot of data? Of course, we don't load all the data all the time. We're going to separate the data sets with different load frequencies based on if the data is historical, current, or planned. Some data, such as daily activity, might be scheduled several times a day, maybe every couple hours, every 4 hours, whereas other data, for example, CRM activity, maybe you schedule that to integrate overnight, while payroll data might only integrate twice a month when payroll is run. Your choice, we can set up whatever schedules are needed. Under stress testing, VENA can pull between 1,000 and 1,500 records per second, or 1.5 to 2.5 million records in half an hour. So let's go to the next step. Let's look at some of the dashboards and the VENA insights. How can you get the data back out? As Scott mentioned, we're not going to focus today on putting the data in. We're not going to focus on the integrations. We're not going to focus on building budgets. There's other demos for that Endeavour has done that we can do. But let's focus on the dashboards and the VENA insights. I'm going to move over to VENA. I'm already logged in as a user. You notice in the upper right corner, I'm logged in as a user by the name of Frank Jones. Some of the reports that Frank is allowed to see here are showing, I want to point out a couple things. First off, we can bring data into PowerPoint format. A lot of my customers have to build packages for the executives, maybe a package to go to the bank, something like that. We can do that in PowerPoint. Even better, I like to do it in PDF format because nobody can change that. We can select what we want to see. So we're going to select which part of the organization. So let's focus on New York. Let's focus on the 2023 budget. We'll do it in PDF only. I can do it in PowerPoint on my desktop, PowerPoint online. We can see the PDF being generated here. When that generates, there we go. It's got the New York, which is my entity 220, 2023 budget. As I scroll through, we can see it's bringing numbers from VENA. It's bringing in charts, graphs, and so on. So we have that integration of PowerPoint already built. We have teams coming in the very near future. Going back to Frank's world, let's focus more on the financial statements. We have customers at VENA that start using VENA simply for their financial statements. Let's look at what we can do, for example, from an Excel standpoint. We're going to look at the financial statements, and then we'll look at some executive dashboards. When the template opens, it's opening in native Excel, as you can see. It starts, as we show in every demo with VENA, it is simply a template. There's no data. We never store the data in Excel. The data is stored in the VENA Cloud database, but we can pick and choose what we want to see, to slice and dice the data. For example, I might have different roll-ups of my entities. These entities all roll up to US and Canada. If I'm the North America manager, this is the view I want. Maybe I'm the European manager. This is the view that I want. I want to see what's in Europe. If I'm creating a board package, maybe I'm at the CEO, CFO level, I might want the entire organization. So I can create different roll-ups of my organization. So let's look at all entities. Say with the departments, I've got the ability to look at all departments combined or slice and dice. Maybe in the organization, I'm the revenue manager. A lot of organizations have a manager responsible for all revenue. Well, I might want a custom view that includes all my departments that generate revenue. Services and sales roll up and consolidate into a single view for RevOps. Maybe I'm the manager in charge of all of the customer and internal support. Admin, accounting, finance, marketing roll up to support, so I can do that as well. In this case, let's leave it to all entities, all departments. We can also look at different time periods. We can go back and look at past reports. Maybe we want to start looking into the future. We have long-term projects, for example, working on. Let's focus on the 2024 budget. Notice we can have actuals, forecasts, contingencies, different what-if scenarios, you name it, unlimited number of scenarios. Let's focus on the budget. If you're an international company, you're doing currency translations, VENA can look after that for you as well, as we can see here. I'm going to apply the selection. Now we see VENA and Excel talking to each other. This empty template is now being populated by the data that's being stored in the VENA database. What's cool about this is I've got the ability to see different types of data as well. I have actuals. These are coming from my Dynamics ERP, my BC, my GP, my NAV, my actuals. I got the forecast that people are working on to kind of do those fine-tuning adjustments as we get closer to the end of the year. We also have the budget numbers everybody's working on, but at any step in this process, I can come in, find one of these numbers, and I can drill down into that number to see exactly what made it up. So I can see, for example, which part of the organization, which department, which numbers did they put in. Notice from a security standpoint, I don't have access to this. We can turn on or off security at the individual cell level. So not every user gets to see everybody else's business as well. So let's go back. That was our income statement. We can drill into the actuals. Obviously, we can drill into the budgets as well. Notice I've got some trend lines. I can very quickly see what's going on. This is because, again, we're working in Excel. All these same Excel capabilities that you're familiar with, that you know and love, continue to work. I've got my income statement. I've got my balance sheet. Across the top, of course, we have some ratios. I've got my cash flow statement, trend lines again. I can very quickly look at that and see how that's going to work out. This is where we start to see some of the magic in VENA, the ability to look at your data and analyze it and work with it to make smart decisions about your business. Notice I have monthly, quarterly, and year-to-date information here. Let's suppose I want to compare my actuals from January of last year to my budget for January of 2024. Notice I can select any of the scenarios I have built in my system, and they're unlimited, and I want to use the 2024 budget, and I'm going to compare January to January. Once I've selected what I want, notice that goes across. I'm simply going to come over to the VENA connector, refresh the data. VENA will update the entire sheet. I can now see my monthly, my quarter-to-date, my year-to-date information for actuals and budgets comparing last January to this January to next January. Coming down, suppose I'm the manager, this hits my desk. I'm looking at this report and I'm seeing last year's advertising was 162, this year the budget's 121. Why the difference? Why is there about a $40,000 difference there? what was going on? What were my managers thinking? Is there something I need to know about to make smart decisions moving forward? Well, let's let VENA do what it does. It manages the data. I'm going to come down, I'm going to drill into that number, and it's going to tell me exactly where those numbers came from. I can see every one of my entities, every department, and I can see where they enter their budgets. No, this one kind of jumps out at me right here, this 20,500. It's almost double everybody else. What's going on there? I can see it came from New York sales, but what was the manager thinking? Like, how did they come up with that number? Well, let's go over back to the VENA connector. I'm going to drill the saves, and I can see that that number was actually saved earlier today by Frank Jones. I happen to be in Halifax, so it's showing 11:50 AST, so about 2-3 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago my time, but Frank saved that while working on his operating expenses. I'm going to download the details, and then I will open up the exact template that Frank was using when he built his budget. I can see very quickly there's the 20,500 that Frank put in that for the January advertising. I can see it's come from a scratch pad. Let's go to the scratch pad. I can see what Frank was building out here. You know, he looked at quantities, he looked at cost, he looked at totals, he looked at different types of advertising spend, and he came up with this total, and that's where that 20,500 came from. I can see Frank's planning across different periods. I can see that Frank even used some drivers to create some of these numbers as well. For example, you know, this one, he used a seasonal spread for this 18,000 to spread it across automatically. I can see where he's used drivers to do costs that only hit on weekdays. Maybe it's cost per employee, you know, maybe it's FTEs. But I can see exactly how Frank built his budget. I can even see a drill sheet where Frank was in analyzing the data, and I can see there's the invoice amounts he was looking at. I know that Frank was doing some very smart thinking here when he built his budget. He wasn't making numbers up. He wasn't pulling them out of the air. He was analyzing exactly what happened last year to come up with these numbers. So it's almost like I'm inside Frank's head as he's building this budget. Now, while I'm here, I mentioned earlier about some of the AI that Microsoft is building. I'm going to show you just a very, very quick example. It's not great AI, but man, it's pretty cool. I could take this group of numbers. Now, I could sit and analyze it. I could build a pivot table. I could slice and dice it, but I can't do it this fast. I'm going to come up to analyze data. Microsoft's AI takes that data set, analyzes it, and says, hey, here's some things you might want to pay attention to. For example, New York has a noticeably higher value than everybody else. So I'm going to insert a pivot chart, and I don't even have to know how to build a pivot table. It automatically shows up here, and I can see exactly what's going on. I want to take this a little bit further, though. Let's simply drag down the departments, and now I can see, for example, the sales and the marketing department are way higher than anybody else. This is really where I need to focus my time. This is where I want my smart people spending their time as well, right? You hire smart people to run the business, not grind numbers. Take those numbers, analyze them, make smart decisions to make the business better. So we have the ability to do that simply by using a combination of VENA storing the data, talking to your ERP, getting that transactional data, and Microsoft Excel with the AI that Microsoft has built, helping me to analyze that data. Let's go back to Frank's world here for a minute, and let's take a quick look at the executive dashboards. Of course, because it's Excel, we can dashboard anything. I really like this report because, I mean, I've been a CPA for 29 years. I've tried to do things like this, and I've spent a lot of time analyzing data, bringing data from multiple sources, struggling with how to get it to make sense. The same ability to slice and dice the data as I had before, but what I like about this is because VENA is talking to all of my source systems, I can have on one dashboard numbers that make sense across my entire organization. For example, I've got financial and operational information, things like gross margin, net income, my assets, liabilities. Obviously, this is my P&L, my balance sheet information, my operating expenses, salaries and related, general operating. Again, coming back from my P&L right down to the general ledger details. But notice down below, I have my people health, things like my FTEs and my headcount. This is data that will be coming from my HRIS. But VENA, because it stores all that data, allows me to integrate all that data to make sense of it, to do things like my revenue per FTE. It's combining my people health with my financial data to give me insights into the business that I might struggle to get otherwise. Could I do it? Yes. Would it be much more work? Absolutely. VENA has the data. VENA allows me to be able to integrate those data sets. I can also have things like customer information, number of units sold. Maybe it's professional service hours. Maybe it's widgets that you're selling. Whatever it is in your business, tracking your customer information. What's in your pipeline? What's your customer acquisition cost? What's your customer satisfaction scores? The ability to combine data from multiple source systems. Imagine sending this to your executives where they can come in and they can look at the data in the way that they want to. Maybe nobody cares about the actuals from last year, but what does the budget and the forecast look like side by side? The ability to very easily toggle on or off what you want to look at. Things again like net income, gross margin, my operating expenses for a particular year, my people care, salaries and related, my FTE headcounts, my customer information, and then of course that same P&L variance report that we had earlier. Imagine sending this now as part of the executive package to your board, to your executives, the ability to slice and dice the data with all of the charts and graphs, trend analysis, everything they need to make sense of the data. Right at your fingertips because VENA is managing all of those data sets. Now, this is doing it in Excel. Let's go one step further. As part of the VENA application, there's kind of two flavors of VENA, and Scott will talk a little bit more about that at the end. One is exactly what you've seen so far. It's VENA talking to Excel, allowing you all of the insights and the ability we have to do reporting. But we've also created what we call VENA Insights. And this is Power BI embedded directly in VENA. Notice I'm still in VENA, but when I launch one of these dashboards, notice we can see Power BI loading right now. There's no need to go out and buy a separate Power BI license. You don't need to have Power BI expertise to make these systems talk to each other. As part of the implementation, we make sure that Power BI and VENA are talking to each other already. From there, we can build very rich visuals, stunning visualizations really, and take advantage of the machine learning and the AI that Microsoft has embedded in Power BI, which is now, of course, embedded in VENA. Same ability to slice and dice the data. It's taking advantage of that same model we looked at. For example, remember Frank was looking at some stuff in New York. We can slice and dice, just Europe, just US, and so on. We can look at the same different scenarios, actuals, budgets, forecasts, what-if scenarios, and so on. Let's compare the forecast to the actual for year-to-date 2023 November net income. We get a set of KPIs. We see that across the top. I might want at the executive level, my top 5, top 8, top 10 OPEX accounts. I've got my gross margin breakdown. Some of these reports are very interactive as well, these charts. If I'm looking at this as an executive, I'm looking at New York. I don't want to have to pull an entire new report to maybe go see what's happening in Los Angeles. I can simply click on it and it rebuilds. There's what's happening in Los Angeles. There's what's happening in Chicago. At any point, I can hover over this. The AI goes back and reads and says, hey, your base scenario, that forecast, was 3.3 million. Your actuals are 3.1. So I've got the ability to take advantage of what Microsoft has built to allow the AI, the machine learning, to kind of analyze the data for me. Of course, I can do line graphs. This is where I really like the power of the AI, the visualizations. Imagine this is your entire organization in the US. If I simply hover over that, the AI will go back and read my data sets. It's looking at my forecast. It's looking at my actuals because that's what I've chosen over on the left. And it's telling me, hey, your forecast, that base scenario trended down with a 30% decrease between March and November, particularly starting in September when it dropped 27%. At 5 million, March had the highest forecast. It was 42% higher than November. It also looks at my product sales. It's looking at my actuals, saying, here's what some of the numbers were. So I can see my entire organization at a glance. Let the AI do the analysis for me so I can now make smart decisions on where to spend my time running the business. A simple right click here. I can drill down a little bit further. Imagine you have a multi-entity, a multi-departmental, maybe a multinational organization. I drill down, it will now split it out into all of the different parts of my organization. As I click on any one of these, Notice the KPIs change, the graph changes. It focuses on that particular part of my organization. Everything updates automatically in a moment. Hovering over one part of the business gives me that same AI conversation where it's telling me, hey, your forecast was 7 million, here's the details, and it runs through all of that for me. Simple matter of highlighting another area, hovering over it, and I get that same set of insights. Now, that's on Executive tab. Let's go a little bit further. Obviously, we can do charts and graphs. There's the same kind of decomposition tree we saw a moment ago. We can obviously get graphical or numerical data here as well. And as I change different parts of the organization, for example, let's unselect everything and select only Chicago. Everything changes. I see Chicago, Chicago. So the ability to get in here and kind of slice and dice and see what I want to see about the organization is very easy. Simply select the data I want to see. On the profitability side, those of you online who've been accountants for any length of time have probably built waterfall reports. We can see our revenue started here. This is where it ended up. Here's everything that came out of it in the meantime. But imagine presenting this to your executives where they simply hover over and say, hey, there's my top 5 OPEX accounts. I can see exactly what happens, advertising, meals, promotions, rent, legal fees, and so on. The ability to let the AI do the analysis for you to really build out these visualizations. On the OPEX side, this is going to happen quickly. Notice here it's running an analysis right here in the middle. It's going through and it's analyzing all of the OPEX, and it's doing cross-dimensional or multi-dimensional analysis as well. Notice it's looking at different accounts, but it's also looking at different departments and telling me, hey, you know, not only should you pay attention to these accounts, but one of these departments is a little bit high. We can see in the tree graph here, yeah, sales is much higher than everything else. A simple hover over that, and again, it will show me my top 5. In your case, maybe you want top 8, top 10. But looking at that information very quickly, I can see salaries and wages is 2 million, telecom is 1 million, legal fees, advertising, sales commissions. But what jumps out at me very quickly here is why is my telecom 50% of my salaries and wages? There's something wrong. My telecom should not be that high. It should be nowhere near my salaries cost. So let's dig in a little more detail. If I click on the sales department, notice again all the KPIs update, everything updates. The analysis is rerunning across the sales department, telling me which accounts might have issues. Notice here we can see, hey, there's a problem. Telecom, we simply hover over it. It says prior year growth is 225%. You know, it went from 298,000 to 972,000. There's definitely something wrong. A simple right click, I can drill through and look at the actual data. Notice here I can see when, which part of the organization, plus or minus budget. I now have some insights into my data that I might not have had before. I know there's something going on in the sales department. If I'm going to get my finance people, my analysts to do some work, this is where I want them to start. Let's look at the predictive analytics page. This is where Microsoft's AI, and it's getting smarter all the time. They're going to add Copilot and so on. But it's starting to look at the data sets. It can look at, for example, what has happened in the past. It's looking at that base scenario. It gets to the point where it says, okay, we're now live as of November. Based on what happened in the past, it will predict what could or should happen in the future. Of course, the more data it has, if it's got 2, 3, 4, 5 years of data, that prediction will be more accurate. But it's now looking at saying, here's a best case, here's a worst case of what's going to happen in the future. Notice the anomaly detection. It's looking at everything plus or minus X from the green line. The green line is my forecast, but everything, as long as it stays within the gray bar, we don't care. You know, we've defined, you know, plus or minus a certain percentage, we're okay. But where it does fall outside of that, it detects it as an anomaly. Simple click on that anomaly, and now it will come in and tell me some possible explanations. It's telling me that, hey, you know, the forecast for the department sales is a problem. So between this one telling me, you know, I got a problem with my sales forecast here, my OPEX kind of highlighted there's something going on in sales there. Now I know where to spend my time focused on the business to really do some analysis. The smart narrative goes even a step further. We can build out here, it's going to read through both the forecasts, actuals, and it's now going to tell me a story telling me now my base scenario is actuals, It's telling me my actuals trended up, resulting in a 5% increase. My actuals trended down starting in February for a short period of time. We can see actual income. It's looking at revenue, cost of goods, and OPEX, but not just at that level. It's drilling down into a specific sales account, a specific cost of goods count, a specific OPEX count. In this case, FICA Medicare. It's going right down into the detail, telling me where to focus. And if I come up here, I could even have it just type in a question. For example, maybe I want my base scenario by entity, and right now it's showing it by numbers. I want the entity name. We call that the alias. And now it rebuilds it and says, here it is. Notice I even made a spelling mistake. It's smart enough, this machine learning, this AI is smart enough to know that when I typed something wrong, I really wanted the base scenario by entity alias. So this is taking advantage of the AI that Microsoft has built, allowing it to help me analyze the business. This is just one dashboard. We call this our foundation dashboard. This is where most of our customers would start. We would tweak it and customize it from there. But I want to point out that I have in this demo environment dashboards for different businesses as well. For example, retail banking, marketing, professional sports, subscription planning. A lot of our customers are interested in the SaaS type business where they can come in and look at, different customers, different opportunities, different product mixes. How are they being sold? So we can see, for example, the same ability to slice and dice. I've got periods, I've got products, I've got my different entities again, the ability to slice and dice the data, kind of see what I want to see. If I even want to take this a little bit further, we can even come back in here, a simple right click. I can drill down, and for this product Nimbus, I can see the actual opportunities. I can see which industry. I can see which location. I get my opportunity pipeline. I can see which stage all these opportunities are at, and so on. So I just wanted to point this one out to show that we can create different dashboards. Whatever your business is, whatever is important to you, we have the ability to show that and visualize that just like I'm showing here. So with that said, I'm going to end my portion of this. I'm going to turn it back over to Scott. I know he has some important information to share with everybody on the call. I do appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. That was amazing. I love the tool, as do our consultants. And yeah, we definitely work jointly together and have everyone's best interest in mind. A little bit deeper dive on that VENA Foundations package. So this is really trying to create a fixed price bundle. It's providing one financial model, one integration being to your ERP, set of financial statements, and a ton of off-the-shelf templates. So customization of obviously your core revenue and your expense operating one, but there's a large self-service template library with hundreds of free downloadable templates and templates that will allow you and your team, once you've taken your training, to expand your use of VENA. And you can expand your use as much as you want. The implications are really just, do you need additional users to be able to see and move and report on the aspects? So sales dashboards, marketing dashboards, obviously the Power BI templates, additional users, and figuring out how those pieces are going to work. And that's really your growth over the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years of a broader user community and being able to leverage the pieces that you've pulled together. So next steps, reach out to Trish, James, or Steve. Others on our team reply to the webinar invite, and myself, Scott, can help you out. For those that are new to Endeavour watching this recording, those that are loyal customers from a number of years, we're now into our 35th year in business. 3 key brands, Endeavour, GP Support North, and Purely CRM. GP Support North, specialist for Dynamics GP. Purely CRM, specialist for mid-market enterprise CRM. And Endeavour is our company dedicated towards Business Central, Dynamics Nav, Dynamics GP, Dynamics CRM, and all the other aspects. We're now up to 900 clients. Just released a press release earlier last week of taking over the consulting practice, bringing over additional consultants, and all of the clients formerly from HSO Canada. So really happy to be continuing to grow through acquisitions, as well as retaining all of our fantastic loyal customers, and thank you for your business. Key lines of business, 3 buckets: advisory, implementations, ongoing optimization, and support. I see my PowerPoint got messed up a little bit here, spreading over the sides. I apologize for that. We'll fix it on the next round. CRM, Business Central, Dynamics GP, and Nav. We're here to help you make your business applications work for you, get more out of your systems, more out of your investments. If you're on Dynamics GP, you can stay on GP, roadmaps out till 2028 and beyond. We're here to support you. If you're looking to move from GP to Business Central, we can help you with those migrations up to the cloud. And if you're already on Microsoft Business Central, obviously we're here to support you in the long term and help you get even more out of your systems as you continue on your digital transformation journey. And even looking in the middle here, if you are on Salesforce.com and CRM, we encourage you to move to the new Microsoft versions. They are way better, far superior, and lower cost. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Let's take a quick look to see if there's any questions in the chat. Nope, don't see anything. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for your time. We have recorded this, and we'll be looking to share that out to you later this week. Bye for now.
Thanks again, Scott.
Thanks, everyone.